Hello, I'm Shake, and I'm one of the coaches for the Boston Uprising. This clip is on our attack on Kings Row in overtime here, and I think we started this attack off with about 3.5 minutes. Okay, so one thing that's really important to talk about here is the composition that Valiant was using. So they have an Orisa, they have a Diva, Junkrat, Widow, Zen, Mercy. Basically, if you play a slow composition against this, it's really difficult because they just put so much pressure out, and they also have a lot of healing, so they can contest the point really easily. They can send their Diva to contest, they can drop their Orisa. So we have 1:43 left to cap this point. We started with 3.5 minutes, and as you can see here, the enemy has a pretty significant ult advantage. They have Tyre, they have Valk, they have Trance, they're coming up on Orisa's ultimate, and we don't have any ultimates. So we switched to our dive composition, and basically what we want to do here is we want to set up a dive from multiple angles where basically if we go through main here and we dive as a team, it's going to be really difficult for us because A, the enemy can put out a lot of poke as we're diving over a long distance, and B, they can basically really easily kite back because we're not coming from multiple angles, we're not cutting off their angle of retreat. So it's really easy for them to back up into like that upper hallway with their Junkrat and just like lay a trap, lay a mine, just throw grenades at us, and then we really can't do anything. So here, Gamsu has a pick on Soon early, they're down 1. They're not able to get the res up. So this is basically a 6v5. And so we really set up a really good dive here where I think Gamsu was able to flank through the back window. He was actually behind their team. Because our dive was really effectively set up, the enemy was at a really significant disadvantage, and they basically had to use a lot of ultimates just to kind of get this fight into a position where they were even capable of winning it. They have to win every fight here. We only need 1 tick to win this point, and they know that. So they know that we set up a really good, we had a big advantage in this fight, and in order for them to kind of turn the fight, they had to use a lot of ultimates. Again, we don't have any ultimates in this fight, so it's kind of a difficult position for us. They now used Trance, they used Valk, they used Junkrat Tyre, so it's going to be really hard for us to win this fight, but we know we have 1:30 left. They just used a lot of ultimates, so we really don't have to kind of force the issue here. We can kind of try to win this fight, but if we lose a player, we lose 2 players, we can take a reset, and we know that we're going to be at a big advantage for the next fight. So here we see Dream dies to their Tyre, Neko dies, so at this point the fight is over, and we know that. You can see players resetting. Striker makes a really smart play here, so once he knows the fight is over, instead of backing up through main, he knows that he's in a position where the enemy doesn't really know where he is, and he takes advantage of that by basically just going behind them, going towards their spawn. Their whole team is up here, so he knows he doesn't have to worry about anyone coming back from the spawn that could scout him. So at this point, he's basically in a great position. They don't know he's here, and that's what's going to set him up for a really nice play in this next fight. So going into this fight, we know we have Pulse Bomb, we have Trance. The enemy, they only have Orisa ultimate. So this is basically realistically going to be our best opportunity to win this point. We have 2 ultimates, they only have 1. And because we're playing dive, it's really going to be difficult if we set up a good dive here for them to win a fight without any ultimates, especially no support ultimates. So again, our team knows that, and we're going to look to take advantage of that here. Okay, so now we're getting into position and Striker's starting to come up. He's basically at this point waiting for our team to call that we're engaging. And as soon as the team calls that, he's going to go in from behind and he's going to look for a pulse bomb. So here we're engaging, we hit the stick. Obviously the stick here was really important, but also it was equally important that our team was kind of in position to capitalize off of that. If we weren't diving at the same time, it's really easy for them to get a res off, but because Dream and the rest of the team was committing at the same time, we were well coordinated, they're not able to get a res, and we're just able to focus the rest of the team down after this. One also really crucial thing to notice here is that Neko did a really good job of getting into a position where he could use Transcendence aggressively. So when you're Zenyatta, it can be really difficult to kind of get onto a high ground like this with your ultimate, but he ends up going through this kind of hallway near the Mega, and he goes up the stairs and uses his Trance, which is really actually important in this fight because they have a lot of damage with their comp, but because we get our Trance onto the high ground where we're diving, it's able to sustain our divers, and that's why we end up winning this fight. And that's how we ended up capping against Valiant and winning our match on Kings Row. Thank you guys for watching, and look forward to more content soon.